Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS. Let's get to the news now, Browns fans. You know how unpredictable the NFL can be, right? Every offseason seems to bring some surprises, some bold moves, and this year is no exception. The Cleveland Browns, a team that's been building for a while now, is facing some interesting questions, especially when it comes to their roster and how they're planning for the future. And let me tell you, recent reports are pointing to some major changes that could shake up the entire AFC North and possibly the entire league. It's all about strategy, rebuilding, and making sure that Cleveland stays competitive in an increasingly tough landscape. So, what's the latest buzz? Well, according to Zach Jackson from The Athletic, the Browns might be considering trading a key player, cornerback Greg Newsome. Now, I know what you're thinking. Newsome has been a reliable presence in the secondary, a solid starter who's shown flashes of greatness. But here's the thing, the NFL is a business, and when the team's long-term plans are in focus, some players might be viewed as assets rather than fixtures. Newsome, who's now entering the final year of his rookie deal, had a somewhat inconsistent 2024 season. He didn't quite live up to the high expectations that come with being a first-round pick, but he's still a young player with a lot of potential and experience. However, the Browns management seems to believe that this season is more about developing talent for the future than making a deep playoff run right now. With that in mind, they're probably looking at their roster and asking, who do we keep? Who do we move on from? And Newsome, being in the last year of his contract, is now in the crosshairs. Instead of risking losing him for nothing in free agency next year, the Browns could opt to trade him now. This might be a smart move from a strategic standpoint. While Newsome has shown flashes of brilliance, especially in coverage, a somewhat disappointing 2024 season might have lowered his trade value just a bit. But don't get me wrong, he still holds a lot of value in the league, especially given his youth, size, and athleticism. And there are definitely teams interested, particularly those looking to bolster their secondary for a postseason push. Now, let's dig into who might be interested. Zach Jackson mentions a few teams that could make a move for Newsome. Two in particular stand out: the Carolina Panthers and the Los Angeles Chargers. Both teams are in the midst of their own rebuilds or playoff pursuits and are looking to add talent to their defenses. Starting with the Panthers, they're coming off a tough season where their defense was among the worst in the league. Head coach Dave Canales inherited quite a mess on that side of the ball. But he's also been strategic, focusing on building a solid offense around Bryce Young, the former Heisman winner and first overall pick. And you've seen flashes of that talent starting to emerge, especially in the second half of last season. Carolina's offensive weapons are starting to come together, and with that, the defense becomes even more critical. The Panthers have already invested in their secondary, re-signing cornerbacks J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson. But as they look to improve their pass defense, adding a player like Newsome could be a game-changer. Imagine Newsome lining up on the outside, especially if Horn is locking down the top receivers and Jackson working in the slot. Newsome could be a perfect fit as a reliable third cornerback, giving Carolina a versatile and talented secondary that can handle the NFC South's passing threats. Plus, since he's not the top corner on the team, he might be more expendable, making a trade more feasible and appealing for the Panthers. This could give them a much-needed boost in a division that's wide open, especially with the Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans Saints also looking to make noise. Now, switching gears to the Los Angeles Chargers, who are a team with Super Bowl aspirations after making the playoffs last season under first-year head coach Brandon Staley and quarterback Justin Herbert. The Chargers have been aggressive in free agency, investing heavily in their offensive line and running game. But they still have some vulnerabilities on defense, particularly in the secondary. They've added some pieces, like the fifth-round pick Tarheeb Still, who showed promise, but they could definitely use more experience and talent to complement their star-studded offense. Greg Newsome could be that piece. His skill set aligns well with the Chargers' needs, quick, agile, with good coverage skills. If they manage to acquire him, Newsome could slot in nicely as a starting outside corner, especially in a system that relies on aggressive pass defense and creative coverages. The Chargers' defense has been solid, but against teams like the Kansas City Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills, having an extra reliable corner could be the difference maker in tight games. And let's not forget how competitive the AFC West is. The Chiefs have dominated for over a decade, but the Chargers are hungry and determined to break that streak. Adding a player like Newsome could provide that extra edge, especially in those crucial matchups that often decide playoff positioning. With Herbert's arm and the Chargers' offensive firepower, the defense needs to be just as formidable, and Newsome could be a key piece in their puzzle. Now, I want to put this into perspective for you Browns fans. This isn't just about trading a player because he had a down year, it's about strategic planning. Cleveland is in a phase of rebuilding, focusing on developing young talent like quarterback Shedeur Sanders, who's already turning heads in training camp. The team's future is bright, but also uncertain, especially when it comes to the roster composition. Moving on from a player like Newsome might seem tough, but it's part of the bigger picture of building a championship-worthy team. The Browns' front office is probably asking themselves how best to allocate resources, draft picks, and cap space to maximize their chances of competing at the highest level in the coming years. And honestly, the NFL is a league of cycles. Teams that hold onto players too long sometimes miss out on the chance to rebuild effectively. The Browns have shown that they're willing to make tough decisions, and trading Newsome could be part of that plan. Plus, with the draft and free agency still in full swing, there are plenty of opportunities to add talent and fill gaps. Browns fans, you've seen this team grow over the past few seasons, and while this move might seem like a setback at first glance, it could very well be a step toward long-term success. Now, thinking about possible trade scenarios, the Panthers and Chargers are both in the mix. The question is, what would Cleveland be looking for in return? Likely, draft picks, maybe a mid-round selection or a future pick, plus some prospects or depth players to help fill immediate needs. The Browns are always looking to balance between adding veteran talent and investing in young players, and a trade for Newsome could give them some additional draft capital to work with. As we look at the bigger picture, Cleveland's defensive backfield is in a bit of a transition. The team has invested heavily in their secondary over the past couple of seasons, but there's always room for improvement. Players like Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome have been the cornerstones, but with the NFL leaning more and more into explosive passing games, having versatile and reliable cover men is crucial. Moving Newsome might open the door for younger players or new acquisitions to step up, but it also signals that the Browns are focused on building a defense that can contend for years to come. And let's not forget, this is just one piece of the puzzle. Cleveland's overall strategy is to build depth, develop talent, and create a roster that can compete with the best in the league. The AFC North is no joke. Teams like the Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Cincinnati Bengals are all formidable. The Browns need to be smart, strategic, and sometimes bold to rise to the top. Trading a player like Newsome could be a key move in that direction, especially if the return helps them upgrade other areas of the roster. Looking ahead, Browns fans, the upcoming season is packed with anticipation. The team's young core is showing promise, and there's a sense of optimism around the stadium. The coaching staff is pushing hard, trying to maximize the talent they have, and the front office is always looking for ways to improve. Whether Newsome stays or goes, the focus remains on building a team that can challenge for a Super Bowl, and every move is made with that ultimate goal in mind. So, as we keep an eye on the news and follow all the rumors, one thing is clear: Cleveland is in a pivotal moment. The decisions made in the next few weeks could define the franchise's trajectory for the next several seasons. And as Browns fans, you know how passionate and resilient this fanbase is. We've seen the ups and downs, the heartbreaks and the victories, and we know that this team is capable of great things when everything clicks. The future is bright, and even if some moves seem tough now, they're all part of the journey toward glory. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential trade? Do you think moving Newsome is the right move for the team's future? Or would you prefer they keep him and see if he can bounce back in 2025? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cleveland Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news. Keep the passion alive, Browns fans, because we're in this together, and the best is yet to come.